Just as I used to study everything that NASA spoon-fed us all, and just as I was fascinated by what I was told the cosmos was back in the day, just as I studied all of that, I study the new information that I was presented some years ago, back around 2014, 2015, when I stumbled across what I thought was going to be nonsense, when I stumbled across the flat earth theory. I now study this new information with even more zest and zeal than I did before, because before I came across the flat earth theory or the level earth idea, I was very confused. Even though I was enthused about understanding the world I live in, I was confused, and much of it did not make sense to me. And I became exhausted by computer generated images and cartoonery that I was shown on the NASA specials regarding the cosmos and the stars and the nebula and the planets. So when I came across the new information, when I watched my very first flat earth video and a couple of basic questions were posed to me, I developed a increased enthusiasm for what I was learning, and it has continued all of these 10 years that I have been studying. So I have recently read Eric Dubay's new book. This is it, Flat Earth FAQ, Frequently Asked Questions. And I'm going to read to you just one small segment, but I would encourage you, whether you're a skeptic or not, to go ahead and watch Eric's videos, any flat earth educator's videos, and to read his book. Order this book and read it, study it, and allow new information to penetrate your current understanding, your current indoctrination of what we have been taught to believe by our government. So this is part 22, chapter 22, on page 129 of Eric's book, and it's just on how do SunRise and SunSet work on the flat earth. In the flat earth model, the sun and moon spotlights are perpetually hovering over and parallel to the surface of the earth. From our vantage point, due to the law of perspective, the two luminaries appear to rise up the eastern horizon, reach their peaks high overhead, and then sink below the western horizon. They do not escape to the underside of the flat earth as scoffing detractors often imagine, but rather rotate concentric clockwise circles around the circumference from tropic to tropic. The appearance of rising, peaking, and setting is due to the common law of perspective, where tall objects appear high overhead when nearby, but at a distance gradually lower towards the vanishing point. Now this next part is from Samuel Rowbotham's book, Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe. That's this book. Also excellent education. He says, although the sun is at all times above and parallel to the earth's surface, he appears to ascend the firmament from morning until noon, and to descend and sink below the horizon at evening. This arises from a simple and everywhere visible law of perspective. A flock of birds, when passing over a flat or marshy country, always appears to descend as it recedes. And if the flock is extensive, the first bird appears lower or nearer to the horizon than the last. The farthest light in a row of lamps appears the lowest, although each one has the same altitude. Bearing these phenomena in mind, it will easily be seen how the sun, although always parallel to the surface of the earth, must appear to ascend when approaching and descend after leaving the meridian or noonday position. What can be more common than the observation that, standing at one end of a long row of lampposts, those nearest to us seem to be the highest, and those farthest away the lowest, whilst as we move along towards the opposite end of the series, those which we approach seem to get higher, and those we are leaving behind appear to gradually become lower. It is an ordinary effect of perspective for an object to appear lower and lower as the observer goes farther and farther away from it. Let anyone try the experiment of looking at a lighthouse, church spire, monument, gas lamp, or other elevated object from a distance of only a few yards, and notice the angle at which it is observed. On going farther away, the angle under which it is seen will diminish, and the object will appear lower and lower as the distance of the observer increases, until, at a certain point, the line of sight to the object and the apparently uprising surface of the earth upon or over which it stands will converge to the angle which constitutes the vanishing point, or the horizon, beyond which it will be invisible. Back to Eric. Globe defenders will often insist this explanation incorrect and challenge flat earthers that if the sun has simply disappeared due to perspective, then a good zoom camera should be able to bring it back into full view after it has set, just like with ships disappearing beyond the horizon. In reality, zooming a ship back into view from a few miles away is much different than bringing the sun back from over 3,000 miles away. Furthermore, ships are usually traveling only a few miles per hour, while the sun travels over 1,000 miles per hour, so the window of opportunity to attempt this experiment is only a few minutes. First, wait until the sun has half disappeared beneath the horizon, so you can only see the top half and are satisfied that the bottom half is no longer visible. Next, using a camera with adequate magnification capability, by zooming into the half-set sun, you will be able to bring the entire sun back into full view. Then, as you zoom in and out, the sun will appear to rise above and sink below the horizon, often with a significant portion of sky reappearing beneath the sun, proving beyond any shadow of doubt that the sun is simply moving away from your position and not physically falling beneath the curvature of a globe. Heliocentrists would have you believe the very opposite of what every human who has ever walked the earth has seen with their own eyes. It is obvious to any child and sovereign-minded adult that the sun, moon, stars, and planets, every light in the sky above, revolves over and around the motionless earth beneath our feet. It is also plain to see that the sun and moon are both approximately the same size and situated relatively close to Earth, not 400 times divergent and not millions upon millions of miles away. To abandon your senses and everyday experience in favor of such unfounded science fiction fantasies is a fallacy of appeal to authority so extreme that it leaves the brainwashed believer impotent to trust his own natural instincts, and forever thereafter chained to the fantastical explanations of astronomical charlatans. And I learned that myself through educators like Eric, that in fact we have been educated by charlatans. And in fact, all of the questions that all of us have had intuitively since we were little cannot be answered by them. But when we start to study the level earth plane, the questions are easily answered. So thanks for listening, and consider buying Eric's book. See ya.